My girlfriend said, "Don't be selfish, Mike," I replied. "I needed you once." Then I left her party life, moved out while on crutches, let Instagram expose her priorities, and I just smiled because everyone saw who she chose that night. Original post, so this happened 2 weeks ago and I'm still processing it. I need some outside perspective because I honestly don't know if I'm overreacting or if this is as messed up as it feels. Some background first, so you guys could understand this situation better. My girlfriend Jasmine and I have been together for 2 years. We live together, split bills, the whole 9 yards. I work in tech sales and just got promoted to senior account manager last month, something I'd been grinding toward for over a year. The promotion came with a 40% raise and basically set up my entire career trajectory. The day this all went down started amazing. My boss called me into his office around 3:00 p.m. and told me I got the promotion. I was over the moon. First thing I did was text Jasmine. "Baby, I got it. The promotion is official. Want to celebrate tonight. How about that steakhouse you love?" Her response was lukewarm. "That's great, babe, but I can't tonight. It's Jessica's birthday party. You knew about this. Here's the thing." I vaguely remembered her mentioning something about Jessica's birthday, but I figured if something this huge happened in my life, she might want to celebrate with me first. Jessica is Jasmine's college friend, who she sees maybe 3 or 4 times a year, while this promotion was literally life-changing for us. I tried one more time. "I get that, but this is kind of a big deal. Could you maybe show up late to the party after dinner with me?" Her response hit different. "Don't be selfish, Mike. Friends only have one birthday a year. Your promotion isn't going anywhere. We can celebrate later." That word selfish just sat wrong with me, but I didn't want to fight, so I said fine and told her I'd just grab drinks with my co-workers instead. Fast forward to around 9:00 p.m. I was leaving Murphy's Pub, the place across my office building where my team and I had gone for celebratory drinks. I was texting my buddy Dave, trying to coordinate meeting up later when I stepped into the crosswalk. I never saw the Honda Civic run the red light. Next thing I knew, I was on the pavement with people screaming around me. My left leg felt wrong, really wrong. There was blood on my face and my ribs felt like they were on fire every time I breathed. Someone was already calling 911. The paramedics were great, got me stabilized into the hospital fast. Turned out I had a fractured tibia and 3 broken ribs. Could have been way worse, but I was looking at surgery and weeks of recovery. Here's where it gets really messed up. I'm in the ER. They've got me on pain meds, but I'm coherent enough to use my phone. The doctor said I was stable, but would need surgery in the morning. Something about waiting for the orthopedic surgeon and making sure there's no internal bleeding they missed. They wanted to do more scans and have me fast overnight before the operation. All I wanted was to hear Jasmine's voice to have her there with me. I was scared, alone, and everything hurt. I called her around 11 p.m. "Mike, what's up? I'm at Jessica's party. Jasmine, I got hit by a car. I'm in the hospital. Can you come?" Silence for like 10 seconds. "Then what? Are you serious? How bad is it?" "Pretty bad. Broken leg, broken ribs. I need surgery tomorrow." Another pause. I could hear music and laughing in the background. "Well, can it wait till tomorrow morning? I'm right in the middle of Jessica's thing and everyone's here. It would be weird to leave now." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Jasmine, I got hit by a car. I'm asking you to come to the hospital." "Look, you're obviously fine enough to call me. Just sleep it off or call your mom. We're doing karaoke and I already paid for bottle service." "I'll come tomorrow morning, okay?" The line went dead. She hung up on me. I stared at that phone for probably 20 minutes. The nurse came by and asked if I needed her to call anyone else. I ended up calling my mom, who lives 3 states away, and my buddy Dave. Dave dropped everything and was there within an hour, but here's what really got me. Around midnight, Jasmine posted an Instagram story from the party. She's got a drink in her hand, huge smile with the caption, "Girls' night is everything. Priorities, friends, forever priorities," while I was lying in a hospital bed with a broken leg. The worst part, several of my co-workers had seen the accident happen. It was right outside our building and apparently pretty dramatic, ambulance, police, the works. By the next morning, word had spread around the office about what happened. So, picture this. Everyone at work knows I got seriously injured. They're sending flowers and well wishes, and then they see my girlfriend's Instagram showing her partying that same night with captions about priorities. I had surgery the next morning. Dave stayed the whole time. Jasmine never showed up, didn't even text. She finally texted me the next afternoon. Hey, hope the surgery went okay. Jessica's party was crazy law. When are you coming home? That's when it hit me. I started thinking about other times she'd done this. When I graduated with my MBA 2 years ago, she skipped my graduation dinner because her friend group had planned a wine tasting. When my grandfather died last year, she came to the funeral but left early because her college roommate was in town. There's always been someone else's priority that came before supporting me at important moments. I'm still in the hospital now, day 3 post-surgery, and I keep asking myself this question over and over again. If you can't show up when your partner is literally in the emergency room, when exactly will you show up? Dave's been a rock through this whole thing. He's taking time off work to help me when I get discharged. Meanwhile, Jasmine has visited exactly once for about 20 minutes, spent most of it on her phone, and complained that the parking garage was expensive. Reddit, I need some perspective. Am I overreacting? Is this relationship salvageable, or am I finally seeing her true colors? Edit, thanks for all the responses so far. Someone asked about the Instagram post. Yeah, it's still up. Several co-workers have seen it, and the timing is not good for her reputation around the office. Update 1. Jesus. Update 1. Christ, I wasn't expecting that response. Thank you to everyone who commented. It really helped me see this situation clearly. So I got out of the hospital 3 days ago. Jasmine picked me up, but spent the whole car ride complaining about having to leave work early and how the hospital parking fees were adding up. Not once did she ask how I was feeling or if I needed anything. The first 2 days home were enlightening. I'm on crutches, can barely get around, and need help with basic stuff. Jasmine's version of taking care of me was leaving a sandwich on the counter and telling me she was going out with friends because being cooped up is bad for her mental health. But the real wake-up call came yesterday. I'd been doing a lot of thinking while laid up, and I started really looking at our relationship patterns. You guys were right. This wasn't a one-off thing. So I did something I probably should have done years ago. I made a list. Times Jasmine wasn't there when it mattered. My MBA graduation dinner chose wine tasting with friends. My grandfather's funeral left early for college roommate visit. My job interview for this current position chose brunch with her sister. Now this accident times I dropped everything for her. Drove 4 hours to get her when her car broke down. Skipped my cousin's wedding to comfort her during a friend breakup. Left a work conference early when she had a panic attack. The pattern was so clear it actually hurt to look at. But wait, it gets better. Yesterday, my coworker James stopped by with some work documents I needed to sign. He's usually pretty professional, but he seemed uncomfortable about something. Finally, he just said, "Dude, I don't know if I should tell you this, but people around the office are talking." Turns out Jasmine's Instagram post from the night of my accident has been making rounds at work. The timestamp shows she posted it around midnight, right after I called her from the hospital. Someone screenshot it before she could delete it. The caption about priorities while I was getting emergency surgery is not playing well with my colleagues or our mutual friends. James told me the reaction has been pretty universal. People were genuinely shocked. The guys in the office are calling it ruthless and ice cold. The women are even harsher. Apparently, Lisa from accounting said, "I wouldn't even treat my ex like that, let alone my current boyfriend." Even people who barely know Jasmine are talking about it. But here's the kicker. Jasmine has no idea people know. She thinks she's been subtle about it, or she simply doesn't see anything wrong with what she did to realize how it looks to others. She even had the audacity yesterday to say, "I think people at your work don't like me. They're being weird when I stop by." Last night, I made my decision. I called my buddy Dave. who's been an absolute legend through this whole thing, and asked if he could help me move out this weekend. I can't do heavy lifting, obviously, but I can pack and supervise. Dave instantly agreed to take the day off work and come over to help. I haven't told Jasmine yet. I've been pretending everything's normal while I get my ducks in a row. Found a small one-bedroom apartment across town that allows short-term leases. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine. I'm planning to leave Saturday while she's at her weekly yoga class. I'll pack what I can. She'll come back to a half-empty house and a single note I leave on the kitchen counter. I keep second-guessing myself, though. Part of me wonders if I should try to talk it out first, see if she can change. But then I remember lying in that hospital bed, calling the person I loved most, and being told that bottle service at a birthday party was more important than being there for me. Dave says something that stuck with me. Bro, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. She's shown you multiple times. How much longer are you planning to put up with this? I think he's right. I think I've been making excuses for her for 2 years because I wanted her to be someone she's not. The hardest part is that I do love her, but I'm starting to understand there's a difference between loving someone and being loved back. I've been doing all the loving in this relationship. I'll update you guys after I move out. Wish me luck. Update 2. Update 2. Holy you guys. I wasn't prepared for what happened after I moved out, so Saturday went according to plan. Dave and 2 other friends helped me pack and move while Jasmine was at yoga. I took only what was absolutely mine, being extra careful not to mix up anything that belonged to her. My leg was still pretty messed up, so I mostly sat in a chair and directed traffic while they did the heavy lifting. We got all my stuff out in about 3 hours. I left the note on the kitchen counter where she'd see it immediately. Kept it simple. Jasmine, I needed you once. Really needed you and you chose someone else. That tells me everything I need to know about our relationship and what I mean to you. I hope Jessica's birthday was worth it. Please don't contact me, Mike. Then I turned off my phone and went to my new place. I turned my phone back on Sunday morning to 47 missed calls and 23 text messages, all from Jasmine. The first few texts were confused. Where are you? Your stuff is gone. What's happening? Then shifted to angry real quick once she discovered the note. Are you seriously doing this over one mistake? You're being ridiculous. Then defensive. I had no idea it was that serious. You sounded fine on the phone, then manipulative. I was scared of hospitals. You know I don't handle blood well. Then desperate. Please call me back. We can work this out. And finally, what I was waiting for, victim mode. I can't believe you're abandoning me like this. You're just like every other guy. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I blocked her number, but blocking her number didn't stop the drama. Sunday night, my friend Cody, who's friends with both of us, called me. Apparently, Jasmine had shown up at his apartment crying, asking if he'd seen me. She told him I disappeared over a little disagreement and was trying to get him to convince me to come back. Cody is a good friend. He said, Jasmine, the whole friend group knows what happened. Mike got hit by a car and you chose a party. That didn't seem like a little disagreement. Not to anyone but you. According to Cody, she just stood there for a minute and then said it wasn't like that and left. Monday morning, the real show started. I'm working from home this week because of my leg, but I was on a video call with my team when my phone started blowing up. Group texts, Instagram DMs, even LinkedIn messages. Apparently, Jasmine had spent Sunday night and Monday morning doing damage control. She'd been calling mutual friends with her version of events. I was emotionally manipulative. I was punishing her for having a social life. And my personal favorite, I was controlling and couldn't handle her independence. The problem, multiple people from my office had already heard the real story. And that Instagram post was still screenshot and circulating. Jasmine was clearly panicking. According to Cody, she'd been doing a full court press on damage control, calling people multiple times, showing up unannounced at friends' places, even trying to get mutual acquaintances to talk sense into Mike. But the more desperate she seemed, the worse it looked. People started avoiding her calls entirely. By Monday evening, her narrative was falling apart. Jessica. Yes, birthday girl Jessica actually reached out to me directly. She said Jasmine never told her about my accident during the party, and if she'd known, she would have told Jasmine to leave immediately. No birthday party is worth that. Jessica said I'm actually kind of horrified. She used my party as an excuse. The social fallout was getting worse for her too. Cody told me that their usual friend group chat had gone quiet whenever Jasmine posted, and she'd been noticeably left out of a few weekend plans. Jasmine was apparently getting paranoid about it, asking people if they were mad at her for some reason, and getting increasingly defensive when no one would give her straight answers. Tuesday was even better. Remember how I mentioned people at work were talking? Well, apparently someone had shared the story without names on a company Slack channel as a what would you do scenario. The universal response was shock and disgust. When people started putting two and two together about who the story was actually about, Jasmine's reputation at her own job started taking hits too. We work for companies that do business together, so there's some crossover in our professional networks. Apparently, word got back to her office through a mutual client. Her boss's assistant, who knows people at my company, heard the whole story and it spread from there. I'm told people at Jasmine's work are now giving her the cold shoulder, especially the women. Someone mentioned that she got excluded from a girls' lunch this week, something that never happened before. Wednesday, Jasmine showed up at my new apartment. I saw her through the window and almost didn't answer the door, but I figured I'd have to deal with this eventually. She looked awful, like she hadn't slept in days. First thing she said was, "We need to talk." I stayed in the doorway, didn't invite her in. There's nothing to talk about, Jasmine. That night I made a mistake. I was drunk and I panicked and I didn't understand how serious it was. You hung up on me when I told you I was in the hospital. I know, but I can change. I'll be better. Here's what got me. She was crying, but it felt performative, like she was crying because she was supposed to, not because she actually understood what she'd done. I said, "Jasmine, when is the last time you asked me how I'm feeling physically, emotionally, anything?" She opened her mouth and then closed it. She literally couldn't answer. I have 3 broken ribs and a fractured leg. I'll be in physical therapy for months. I can barely sleep because of the pain. And in the 2 weeks since this happened, you've never once asked me how I'm dealing with it. Even now standing here, you haven't asked. She started crying harder, but I was done. You taught me something important, Jasmine. You taught me the difference between someone who loves you and someone who's just comfortable with you being around. I hope it was a good lesson for both of us. I closed the door. She stood outside for maybe 10 minutes, sometimes knocking softly, sometimes just standing there. Eventually, she left. I haven't heard from her since. The crazy thing is, I feel lighter, like I'd been carrying around this weight I didn't even realize was there. Dave came over last night with pizza and we just hung out like old times. He said I seem more like myself than I have in years. I start physical therapy Monday. Work has been incredibly supportive. I've got a good friend group that has my back. My new apartment is small, but it's peaceful. I keep thinking about what would have happened if I had stayed. If I'd accepted her apology and tried to make it work, would she have changed? Or would I have just taught her that she could treat me like an afterthought and I'd always come back? I think I know the answer. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. You guys helped me see clearly when I needed it most. Edit, someone asked about the Instagram post. She finally deleted it, but the internet is forever. Several mutual friends had already screenshot it before she took it down. Final update, final update. I thought I was done with updates, but Jasmine showed up at my apartment again yesterday, and I think you guys deserve to know how this ended. It's been almost a week since our last conversation. I've been doing well. Physical therapy is helping. Work is good, and I've been reconnecting with friends I'd kind of lost touch with while I was with Jasmine. Dave pointed out that I'd become pretty isolated from my friend group, which I hadn't really noticed until now. Yesterday, around 6:00 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Jasmine standing there with what looked like a care package, one of those fancy gift baskets with snacks and tea and stuff. Part of me wanted to just not answer, but I figured ignoring her forever wasn't sustainable if we were going to run in the same social circles. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "I brought you something," she said, holding up the basket, "for your recovery." "That's thoughtful," I said flatly, "but I don't need anything." "Mike, please," she looked desperate. "Can we just talk 5 minutes?" Against my better judgment, I let her come in. She sat on my couch and I stayed standing, partly because sitting down with my leg still hurts, but mostly because I didn't want this to feel comfortable or casual. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she started, "and I realize I haven't been a good partner to you." I didn't say anything. "I talked to my therapist about what happened, and she helped me see that I have this pattern of putting other people first because I'm afraid of confrontation. Like, I was afraid if I left Jessica's party, she'd be mad at me. So you were more afraid of Jessica being mad than me being hurt." She was quiet for a minute when you put it like that. "Yes, and that's messed up. I know that now." I sat down across from her. "Jasmine, do you remember what you said when I called you from the hospital? I was drunk and panicked, and you told me to sleep it off or call my mom. I was calling you because I was scared and hurt, and I needed the person I loved to be there with me before a surgery. And instead, you told me to just sleep it off like it was just some random headache." She started crying again, but this time it felt different, more real, maybe. "I know. I replay that conversation every day. I hate myself for it. I don't want you to hate yourself." I shook my head. "But I also can't be in a relationship where I come second to everyone else in your life." "You don't. You're the most important. Name one time in the past year where you chose me over someone else when it mattered." She opened her mouth and then closed it. "Same thing that happened last week. I can name a dozen times I chose you." I said, "I chose you over family events, work opportunities, friendships, but I can't think of a single time you did the same for me." She was really crying now. "I can change. I can be better." "Maybe you can, but not with me." "What does that mean?" I took a deep breath. "It means I think you need to learn how to prioritize the people you care about, and I can't be your practice dummy while you figure it out. I deserve to be with someone who already knows that when I call from a hospital, they drop everything and come, not someone who needs to learn that lesson. So that's it. 2 years together and you're just done." "Yeah, I'm done." She sat there for a few more minutes crying quietly. Then she said something that actually surprised me. "You're right about all of it. I do put other people first because it's easier than disappointing them. And I took you for granted because I knew you'd always forgive me." She looked up at me. "I'm really sorry, Mike, for who I was to you." That was the first apology that felt genuine. "I appreciate you saying that," I said. "I really do." She stood up to leave, then turned back. "For what it's worth, I hope someday you can forgive me, not for my sake, but for yours." After she left, I sat in my apartment for a long time thinking about that last conversation. There was something different about her, like she finally understood what she'd done instead of just being upset about the consequences. Dave came over later and asked how I felt about it. "Sad," I said, "but not regretful. And that's the truth. I'm sad that 2 years ended this way. I'm sad that she had to lose me to understand how she'd been treating me and learn her lesson. But I'm not regretful about leaving. My ribs are healing. My leg is getting stronger. I start a new project at work next week. Dave and I are planning a guys' weekend next month when I'm fully mobile again. I'm good. Really, genuinely good. Thanks for following this journey with me, Reddit. You guys helped me find my backbone when I needed it most."